Hello everyone. Today I want to present to you Anna Fahr, the director of Valley of Exile. She's here to discuss the film. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're always welcome here. Tell me more about your film. Is there any other language that we can say that the title is it Valley of the Exile? Okay.
Valley of Exile in English, Wadi al-Manfa in Arabic.
Wadi al-Manfa. Tell me more about this film. How is it personal to you?
So I'm actually not Lebanese. My parents are from Iran, and I was born in the U.S. and grew up in Canada. I went to Iran in my early 20s to make a documentary film about themes of migration and sort of what it means to live sort of between worlds. And that was my first project as an independent filmmaker. It's called Khani Ma, these places we kind of call home. So I was always really interested in exploring themes of migration, exile, and home. And I moved to Lebanon in 2012. I got a job to teach at a university there. And I continued making films only now in Lebanon and in Arabic. And so I made a short film there called Transit Game, which was about two Palestinian children who encounter a Syrian man who has just fled from the war and is looking for a home for his family. And so that film kind of deals with sort of the intersections between different generations of refugees in Lebanon. And then since then I made several documentary films about Syrian women and their experiences with migration and exile, and Shway Shway basically led me to make my first feature narrative film, which is Valley of Exile.
Amazing. So you speak different languages, don't you?
Well, I speak English, French, Persian, and Arishway.
Was there a language barrier when you were talking to the actors, the crew, and the cast while filming in Lebanon? Was that any challenge? Is there any challenges?
Definitely, there's challenges when you are working with cast, where obviously the cast, their first language is Arabic, my first language is English. I could read Arabic because I can read Persian, so I was able to kind of keep track of where we were in the script. But it was a matter of sort of working between English and translation in Arabic, and really kind of building trust with the cast first and foremost. I think once you build a certain level of trust, you can effectively communicate with them without the barriers that language tends to put between you. And fortunately, most of the cast understood English, if not spoke it. So like Maria Hassan, who played Rima, fluent in English, Michelle Hourani, Najwa, Joy, pretty much all of them. Hala, who was our youngest cast member, she was 18 when we made the film. She spoke Syrian/Lebanese Arabic because she had been living in Lebanon since she was a child. Her family fled during the war. And so she could understand English, but she wasn't really comfortable speaking it, but we were able to sort of build a shorthand, let's say.
That's amazing. And discussing about the whole the theme and the genre, let's discuss more about that. What are the biggest challenges you had doing that kind of project?
Well, it's a drama. It's a film about sisterhood set against the backdrop of the Syrian war. It's a film about what women do to survive without being able to sort of lean on family members for support. So the story follows these two young sisters. Upon their arrival in Lebanon, they have nowhere to go, so they wind up in a refugee camp where they're taken in by a Palestinian Syrian woman who's been living in Lebanon for about 6 months. The younger sister is determined to find their brother who's gone missing, and the older sister is pregnant, and she is basically just desperate to get out of the camp because she doesn't want to give birth in this refugee camp. So it kind of sets up this journey where these two sisters are being confronted with very difficult choices that they have to make that at times puts them at odds with each other. But ultimately it's a story about sisterhood, it's about family, and it's also about what war does to families.
That's amazing. I see there's a lot of high stakes in the film based on everything you just told me. Also, someone being pregnant who can also feel the vulnerability in these moments. Do you write these scripts? Is that something you wrote, and based on which experience did you write them?
Yes, so I did write the script. I wrote it over many years. I started writing it in 2015, around the time after I finished my short film. I was still thinking about the theme of exile, but more curious about what the experience of exile felt from the female perspective. So I sort of just kind of started exploring these characters of these two young women who are sisters. I'm a sister, I'm a younger sister. So I wrote the script very much from the point of view of a sister, of somebody who's had like very close female relationships. And it just happens to be that they are refugees. So I like to say it's first and foremost a film about sisters who happen to be refugees. I did go on to make documentary films with Syrian refugee mothers, speaking to them about their experiences, and that really did help sort of shape the world and the context of these two young women.
Amazing. Also, you teach, right?
Yes.
Yes, and I heard that there's some of your students were involved in some of the filming?
Yes, so I was teaching in Lebanon from 2012 till 2015 at the Lebanese American University, and there were some of my students who had graduated by the time we were going into pre-production, so my producing partner Lada and I decided to reach out to, let's say, some of the more promising graduates that we had kind of been following and seeing, oh, this person's been doing that, and this person's been doing this. And so Zainab Abdaran is a former student of mine who basically line produced the film single-handedly. She's a brilliant producer, line producer, and she took on this role and really handled it incredibly well. My first assistant director is a former student. His name is Mohammed Yassin. Same with him. This was not a small film in terms of production. We had many locations, huge cast. We shot it in a refugee camp during COVID. And my second assistant director, Finesse Itanios, also. So these were really, really promising, talented, young filmmakers that was a joy for me to be able to work with, especially having been their educator and then now sort of a partner in the production process.
So the trick for aspiring filmmakers who want to work with Anna is to be attending her class. So that's the hack.
Doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt. So I guess this is where she gets to discover you.
I do. Yeah, a good way to discover talent. Yes.
That's amazing. Tell us more about the film itself. Where is it traveling? How's the distribution going on?
So we premiered the film last summer at a festival in California called CineQuest. That was our world premiere. It won the jury award for Best Feature Drama. It then screened at the Vancouver International Film Festival, won an award there. Its international premiere was at the Warsaw Film Festival competition, and so it's since traveled quite a bit. We recently had our Middle East premiere at the Beirut International Women's Film Festival in the presence of our cast and crew, which was a very beautiful sort of full circle moment for them. I unfortunately couldn't be there, but I was zooming in and seeing the red carpet, and it was really a beautiful thing to see them. They're a beautiful cast, so it was wonderful to see them dressed up and shining on the red carpet.
Congratulations for all the awards. Also, I really want to understand. So you've been doing a lot of projects with that specific theme, right?
Yes.
I want to understand where have you accomplished your message yet? Have you felt like you constantly have to re-educate the people about these subjects? What is your next project based on that idea?
Yeah, I mean, I've, as a daughter of Iranian immigrants, I've sort of grown up, between worlds where, part of me has been, obviously influenced by American and North American film, music, entertainment, and another part of me is very much influenced by my culture, the poetry, the art. Iran has a very rich history in its cinematic traditions, and so I'm very much influenced by Iranian cinema in terms of my style as a filmmaker. And in terms of themes, because my life was so heavily shaped by choices that not only my parents made, but also my grandparents. Like my grandmother, for example, was a very devout yet progressive Muslim woman, and she made the choice to push my dad towards studying both beyond primary education, secondary, and then university, and eventually he got his doctoral degree. That was largely because of her decision making. So I've always been really interested in challenging what people think of Muslims, Iranians, Middle Easterners sort of in general, and showing that there's more to them than what we think in terms of what the Western media portrays. So that's what largely drives my filmmaking practice. I have a company called Morning Bird Pictures that also focuses on films about the contemporary Middle East and its diaspora. And yeah, it's been an ongoing pursuit over the last 20 years as a filmmaker, and I have other projects in development right now.
Can't wait to see what's coming up. By the way, I heard that you're familiar with this place? Yeah?
Yes.
Tell me more about Concordia.
I was a student at Concordia in the early 2000s, film student in the Hoppenheim School of Cinema, class of 2003, and I actually was also worked part-time as a projectionist in this very room. So I used to project movies, 35 millimeter, 16 millimeter, laser discs in different film studies classes that were at Concordia. That I was taking film studies classes, and I was also working as a projectionist. Yeah.
That's amazing. My last question here about the film. Can you tell us more where it's premiering right now? It premiered already.
It premiered last summer, yeah.
Last summer, okay. Can you tell us what is the next projection?
So it's actually going to the Shanghai International Film Festival in mid-June. It's part of a very small selection of films that will be screening in this one program. I think it's called the Belt and Road section. And I believe it's the only Lebanese film in that program. And then after that, we have our theatrical release in Canada. We have a theatrical distributor, which is Game Theory Films, and we'll be screening the film at the Toronto Arab Film Festival in Toronto, and then theatrical beginning in Ottawa, my hometown, in early July. So I will be announcing dates for anybody who's interested in catching the film in any of those cities. I know for a fact we have Toronto, Ottawa, and Calgary coming up.
Amazing. And it's happening tonight as well.
And tonight, of course.
Yeah. You shouldn't forget that, guys.
And tonight, yeah, at 7:30 p.m.
7:30 p.m. Which theater?
This one.
This one. Okay.
The Duceppe? Yeah, Cinema Duceppe at Concordia University.
Amazing. So where you used to project other people's films, now your film's going to be projected here.
Yeah.
Guys, this is amazing. Honestly, it's inspiring, Anna. Does anyone here have a question for Anna? A specific question here somewhere? Go ahead. Yes.
Yes, in fact. In fact, I would like to know, where do you classify your film in terms of cultural identity? So you have all this mix, a salad of backgrounds, Iranian parents, born Canadian, married to a Lebanese, lived in Lebanon, lived in the States, doing a film about Syria and Lebanon. So it's a kind of, you will get lost in the identity. So where do you place yourself as cultural identity in your films?
That's a very good question. A tricky one to answer because it has so many, I guess you say, identities, the film itself. It was a collaboration with our Lebanese, Syrian, and Lada, my producing partner, is Lebanese Palestinian. And we have a character in the film who's also Palestinian. So I feel like it's a beautiful melting pot of cultural identities. Because I lived in Lebanon for many years, Beirut has a big place in my heart as a place. It's a place where I was able to be creatively free, to explore themes that were really important and interesting to me, which is something that I didn't get to do as easily, let's say, in Iran, when I made my film in Iran many, many years ago. So I really appreciated how I was, as a foreigner, welcomed with open arms into the Lebanese arts and film industry, and able to make films and talk about stories that I felt were important, sort of on a human level, stories that were very locally specific but addressed very universal themes. And I think it comes through because of sort of the collective voices that came together to get the film made under very difficult circumstances, I would say.
Amazing. Anyone here had a question as well? Any other question? Yes? Mr. Hadi over there. You got it? Okay. Turn it on here. It's, yeah.
Hey Anna, Just a question for you. How important is distribution in your process as an independent filmmaker? I heard you speak about the distribution later, and it's going to be in Shanghai, if I remember well. How important is it, and what percentage of the budget should be allocated to distribution, especially as an independent filmmaker?
That's a great question. Distribution is not easy with independent films. Obviously, you're up against the big Hollywood players, the big, budget films. When you're a very small film, you have to fight very hard to get noticed. And I think you just have to pour a lot of time. I would say it's almost as hard as getting the film made, is to get it seen. And in cinemas and in festivals, and just to kind of keep it going. In terms of budget, it really comes down to what you can afford. I'm not going to advise anybody to go broke, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of grassroots ways to get your film out there, and little by little, the film can always build momentum through word of mouth. So I always start with festivals and trying to reach festival audiences, trying to get some awards and get it sort of moving forward in that way. And then my Canadian distributor came on board before we went into production, so we were lucky enough to get that sort of first distributor tied earlier on in the process. But I'm still working on getting it distributed in other markets, and I just got back from the Cannes Film Festival where I was attending Marché du Film. I was trying to meet with distributors and sort of pitch the film, and so you're always going to be actively trying to get that film in front of the right people who can help you take it to that level. But it's a lot of work. It is, it's not easy, but it's sort of a necessary thing if you want to make sure that all that work that you put into the film gets the recognition that it deserves.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much for sharing all this.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. The Lebanese Film Festival wants to thank you for all you've done, everything, all your art, and we can't wait to see it tonight at 7:30. Can you repeat the name in Arabic so that people?
Tell me if I'm saying it wrong. Wadi al-Manfa?
Wadi al-Manfa tonight at 7:30.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's asked Sam these questions. In English, it's Valley of the
Valley of Exile.
Of Exile.
Yeah,
Valley of Exile tonight
at 7:30. Yeah.
Right here, where she used to project the.
Where I used to work.
Are you the one projecting the film?
I hope not.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.